This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And hey, if you're planning a trip to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney, regardless of what Disney destination you're looking for, the travel agents at MEI and Mouse Fan Travel can help you plan that perfect trip regardless. Again, it doesn't matter where you're going. They've got experience with it all. They're not just about Walt Disney World. They've got experience in all those other facets of vacation travel that Disney offers, and they can help you plan it. So if you're an expert at Walt Disney World like us, and you're saying, I don't really know a whole lot about Disney Cruise Line, for instance, but, not nearly as much as I know about Walt Disney World. Well, you know what? You've got a partner in it because, again, just like Walt Disney World, the service to you is free. It's just they'll do all the work for you, no commission. How great is that? Check them out online at www.mousefantravel.com.
Bringing the world to your world, this is Walt Disney World Today. Here are Mike Scopa, Len Testa, Mike Newell, and your host, Matt Hochberg.
It's Wednesday, February 16th, 2011, and this is episode 839 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Len Testa, co-author of the Initial Guide to Walt Disney World. And Len, welcome to the show. And, I have to say, I was kind of bummed yesterday, Tuesday, because I had to sleep on the couch. Wife wouldn't talk to me. And, I can't figure out exactly why. I mean, I gave her a great Valentine's Day gift the day before, a pass to the shooting range. But I can't put my finger on what exactly I did wrong.
It's like giving your ex-wife a taser for Christmas. It's just not something that you do.
Huh. Interesting. No taser. Okay.
Advice you might want to take, man.
Interesting. I'll keep that in mind. Also joining us on today's show is our ladies' man, Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Welcome,
Mike. Somewhere Mary's laughing hysterically, I can tell.
Or crying.
It's Wednesday. We're answering your listener questions, and we'll start with a question from Caroline from Alabama.
Caroline
writes, hope all is well. Guys, what topics fire your listeners up? I'm sure you've been surprised at times. What topics did you think would be interesting and fell flat, if any?
That's a great question.
It is a good question.
I thought the episode that we did on the Amish in Walt Disney World was going to be way more popular with them than it was. Apparently, we neglected to remember that they actually don't have iPods. That was it. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I know one topic that recently that we did that had a huge
spots for a bris in Walt Disney World.
Boy,
it's nice.
The Moyle listenership is just not what we thought it was going to be.
Also, not one. Yeah,
but it is nice to walk around Lancaster without being recognized. I will say.
I'll say seriously, one episode that I thought we got a lot of great feedback on was the resort mug episode, which I kind of expected it in a little bit, but we had got a lot of feedback about resort mugs and people's opinions on the morality of reusing resort mugs.
Janine.
Those kind of hot button topics that you would see almost anywhere, in terms of like forums and certainly discussions you've had with your family.
So my free salad tip at Pecos Bills that never made it either.
Nah.
It's also, I think, also a reflection also of our listenership because, obviously we're a trip planning podcast, right? So topics that aren't necessarily closer to that topic sometimes have a more of an issue, I think, of catching on. I think a good example is pin trading. None of us are pin traders. I think our listener audience is not interested so much in a topic like that as other topics. So I think that was one episode I remember not getting a whole lot of feedback on. We did a show on scrapbooking too. Yeah, it's just just not our cup of tea, and I guess it's not our listeners' cup of tea either. We had a lot of great feedback. I mean, I'm keeping it kind of recent, but the episode we had with Laura Spencer was actually very well received, and I thought it was going to do well, but I was actually surprised by how well we got. And then, of course, there's the infamous snack, or what was the snack?
Snacks have been sick.
Yeah, exactly. That one, I don't think we quite anticipated how popular it was because people are still talking about it. And that's episode. The original one was what, episode 400 and something?
414s in the 414, 417.
Yeah, people still mention it.
Yeah, that was a great episode. It's one of our classics.
The same goes for the Christina Testa episodes too.
Episode 72.
That was episode 72. Yeah, I think that was like 700 and something episodes ago. and it's still. We have to have her back on. She thinks she's
Oh
coming
my
down in
God.
a couple of weeks. We'll have to have her. Down.
There you go.
Yeah.
Get your lawyers, though, Len, over there.
Oh, of course, yeah.
We'll have Newell on the dump button all the time.
Beep.
Next email is from John Scott. He
John.
writes, hi, Matt, Mike, Len, Henry, Fabulous Annette, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young.
That's the other half of Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner, and Smith.
We're taking advantage of a Disney pin code for a long weekend at the end of October. We'll be staying on property and having a credit card attached to our Keys to the World cards. Is it worth to bother to get the Food and Wine prepaid cards for our festival consumption? Is using a prepaid card easier than using your Key to the World?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think Key to the World is more useful for people who don't use that or people who want to be on a budget.
Yeah.
Isn't the Food and Wine card like on a wristband thing?
It is. That is an advantage of it. You're right about that, Mike.
Right. This way I don't have to keep going to my wallet, pulling out a card. I just swipe right off my
that's a good point.
wrist.
Yeah. The only thing with the key with that is you have to charge it like a debit card almost, like a gift card.
Right.
But yeah, from a convenience factor, you're absolutely right. It's easier just to put that on your wrist, and certainly after a few drinks, it might be a little easier just to wave your arm around. There you go. There you
Let's just charge it.
go. Just so, Mr. Testa, here you go.
I'm Lou Mongello.
Thank you. I'm Lou Mongello. Damn it.
Next email is from Stephanie from Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. I've been listening for a long time, and I finally found an opportunity to ask a question. 14 of us, including some first-timers, are coming to the world and touring the parks May 16th to the 21st. I'm having trouble deciding what day to tour the studios.
Star Wars weekends.
That's right. Monday and Wednesday are extra magic hours. Tuesday and Friday are Fantasmic nights. Saturday is Star Wars weekend, so naturally that would leave Thursday. The per park crowd calendar lists Thursday as a 0.4. Maybe she means a 4, whatever, which sounds perfect. Here's the dilemma. The opening of the new Star Tours isn't until Friday. Should we wait and go on Saturday so we can ride Star Tours? None of us are big Star Wars fans, but the first timers in our crowd probably won't be back for years. Is it worth the extra crowds to ride that one ride, or do you think it would be more enjoyable for first timers to tour the other attractions with less crowds?
That's going to be a madhouse that weekend.
Yeah, because you got all the Star Wars fans and the opening of the attraction. Matt, is this just a total coincidence that they scheduled both of those things on the same day?
Yeah, because parks aren't total coincidence. Exactly. Yeah,
It's bad scheduling. Is that it?
Yeah. Actually, the thing I was going to add, Stephanie, is Star Tours is going to be open before the 20th. They're going to have soft opening.
Yeah, go on Thursday the 19th. I think it's going to be.
I mean,
that's the day to go.
I can't promise you that it'll be open on the 19th. I mean, the nature of soft openings is they're not guaranteed to be open, obviously. But I would, as we get closer to those dates, Stephanie, check. I'll shamelessly plug StudioCentral.com. We'll have all the information about the soft openings if they occur, and I expect them to, where you'll be able to possibly ride on the 19th, and even I would expect even as far ahead as a month before the 20th. And this is just based on previous experience with other attractions. I know that when Expedition Everest, for instance, it was supposed to be opening on a certain date. I remember I wrote it like 20 times before the actual opening date because of all the ample soft openings they had. Toy Story Midway Mania was open for at least a month ahead of time. And that may not be the case, maybe even 2 weeks. But the point is, the day before the official opening, I would expect, unless they have to make major preparations, I would almost say that it's almost worth betting on that being open. But again, check ahead of time. And if that's the case, then that Thursday plan does work for you.
Yeah, the official opening is just a ceremonial opening.
Yeah.
It's not really, it's already going to be operating. And
Yeah, it should be. They're not going to be like, all right, let's try this out for the first time on the 20th.
Yeah, exactly. Flip the switch, Marvin. Yeah.
Oh, hi, Len. You remember
sorry.
Yeah, it's like it's not going to be like a scene from Muppet Vision 3D when they activate the vacuum Muppet.
You see Beaker there with a big switch.
Next email is from Matt Rushing of Meridian, Mississippi.
I didn't know Mississippi was near the Meridian. How about that?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Who came in? Three Stooges reference. I'm a long time listener, and no worries, I didn't just stumble onto the podcast one day. I actually sought it out. This is not so much a question, but a picture of the most awesome hand dryer to hit public restroom facilities everywhere. I've included an attachment. I know there have been some discussion on the shows of where these actually look like and how they operate, and yes, you will still get that great skin ripple effect just like you do with the jet dryers. In basic,
the Cyclone ones, or is this this is the Dyson one?
These are the Dyson one.
Yeah.
It's the air bubble. Basically, horizontally insert your hands from the side with your wrist at the top rim. Sorry, not the best visual. But the best visual is a dainty gesture of a lady showing off newly painted nails in front to her friends. Keep the good work. P.S. Unofficial guide.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah. Those things are just fun to play with. Just, I go through there and It's just cool to have it. I know they have one for sure. It's not a Dyson. It's it's just one of those super cool ones. The restroom at Baby Cakes in downtown Disney.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have
where's the bathroom at Baby Cakes?
In the back by the seating, kind of by that little window where you can watch.
Is that okay?
Yeah. By the way, she loves if you go there and just stare at her making cookies. Don't smile or wave, just stare.
Stare, yeah.
There's a window in the back. You can see them like baking and stuff.
Emily, you mean? She enjoys when you stare? Yeah, but just look slightly past her, like one of her shoulders. Don't look directly at her. Look past her shoulder, like there's something behind her sneaking up on her, and you look through the window. Yeah.
Or rub your hands and nod slowly.
Exactly.
Oh, good God.
Or you could do just press your nose against the glass so somebody has to clean it in the morning.
Next email is from Paul Thorpedo or Thorpiness on the boards. Hoorah!
Hoorah!
From Aspel, England. That's really how you pronounce it.
Hello, Governor.
He says, rather than hello, Governor, try saying hey up, which will allow you to add Northern to your English accent collection.
Hey up?
Hey up.
Huh.
No wonder we didn't want to be part of your country. Hey up. Anyway.
Hey up.
Hey up. Hey up, Governor. I've sent a few questions.
He's dying over here now.
I've sent a few questions, and thanks for the answers. This isn't a question. I'm trying to pass out my experience to fellow listeners, hoping it will help someone out. I originally sent the same question to Len for potential inclusion in his little parchment collection, but I've sent it to the podcast as well. I missed the excitement of seeing my email section excite Mike Newell, and of course, the challenge of living long enough to hear it read out.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I want to share my experiences with Mickey's backyard barbecue, which can be summed up as, quote, beware the Floridian bucket emptying ceremony, end quote.
Oh, rain.
We went to the barbecue over summer 2010 via boat from the Magic Kingdom. We got there no problem, but the storm set in whilst we were there, and the boat stopped running for safety reasons. This slightly altered our return journey plans of a nice boat ride back to the Magic Kingdom. This was the first time we'd been to Fort Wilderness and figured out that we needed internal resort buses to get to the front of the Fort Wilderness Resort before we could get back to the bus or to a park or downtown Disney. Was what I would call slightly interesting. We had no expectation to use the internal shuttle and therefore had no idea how it operated. We figured it out, but it seemed to take several lunar cycles to get back to Port Orleans. 3 points come from this experience. One, first and foremost, transport via boat to or from Fort Wilderness is weather dependent. If you're going there via boat for the barbecue, watch the skies. I seem to remember that you could pay up front for the meal and lose the money if you fail to make it there for the meal. 2, consider the workings of the internal shuttle when you are warm, dry, and safe, not wet, cold, and in the dark. And 3, being wet makes air conditioning on a bus work just a treat. In fact, rather too well, as it was freezing on our return journey. I must, however, hand lots of credit to Disney for the fact that once the downpour started, a crate of clean, fresh towels magically appeared for guest use, but they didn't stop the cold on the bus. Yeah, I mean,
I actually did hear this from Paul earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I remember, Paul's right about the navigating Fort Wilderness. You've never been there before. I remember the first couple times I went there with Newell. Newell had been there before. I had never done it. And I felt like I was in like a foreign country because those internal buses are weird. It's now that knowing it makes sense. But if you have no idea what you're doing, it's kind of a jarring experience. It's certainly not the easiest thing in the world.
And you're right. It's also tough at night when it's dark and you're not paying attention to where you are.
Hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I invariably get off the bus and I make a wrong turn.
Yeah. Or we've stayed on. We've gone to the settlement and we've stayed on, not realizing that's where we were.
That's where you're at because it's dark.
Right.
Exactly.
Thing to remember. First of all, you can always ask the bus driver. They're more than happy to help. But the key to remember about the buses at Fort Wilderness, if you're going from the settlement, which is where like Hoop-de-Doo is and all that stuff, to the outpost, which is where the parking lot is, or vice versa. You just have to take. It doesn't matter which bus you take. You just get on any of those buses, and they all eventually end up at one of those locations. They take different routes there because they stop at different like loops and everything for the resort campers. But if your goal is to get from either the settlement to the outpost or the outpost to the settlement, doesn't matter what bus you go on. They all go to the same place in the end.
Awesome.
Next email is from Steve Pope. Just and the world back in May. Crowd calendar of a 4 and a 5, and going back with the entire family next June. Wife is a school teacher, so not much choice. The crowd calendar shows 8 or 9. Going from 4s to 8s, does that mean twice as many people?
It doesn't actually. Remember the crowd calendar is a rank of the percentile of the day. So if you rank the days from 1 to 365, they're roughly, and you broke them down into 10% ranges. The busiest 35 days are rated 10. The next 35 days are rated 9. The next 35 days are rated 8, and so on. And the slowest 35 days are rated 1. So if you think of it as a bell curve, it doesn't necessarily mean that a day that's rated 8 is twice as busy as a day rated 4.
Cool. Next email is from Carol.
Oh, sorry. One more thing. If you check the crowd calendar, if you click on the crowd calendar itself, if you have a subscription, it'll actually tell you the typical wait times for that day, for that level. Okay. So you can look at the typical wait times. Sorry,
next email is from Carol, who writes, what do you think is the best food and wine festival event for the money?
Oh, the wine tastings. The wine tastings and wine pairings. I think those
Why do you say that one?
They're relatively inexpensive. They're like between $6 and $9, I think, with an AP discount, or like $12 without. But you get, if you're doing the wine pairing, you get a decent sized, like piece of fish or chicken or beef or whatever, a small side to go with it, and then a decent serving of wine, cooked in front of you, like cooked right there, and then you get like a 45-minute discussion about how to do the pairing. And then if you're doing the wine sampling, you typically get three different wines, like 2 whites and a red, 2 reds and a white, something like that, to try again for like $6 or $9. It's really a good deal.
I was going to say one that it's expensive, but I hear nothing but rave reviews of is the Party for the Senses, which people just say just to a person. It's awesome. It's a little pricey, but people just seem to really, really, really enjoy that. And so that would be my recommendation. Not firsthand, but secondhand. Next email is from Ray from Anaheim. Hello from the West Coast. Just started listening to the podcast a month ago, and I'm trying to catch up. Glad you've been listening for almost a year now.
Woo.
On one of our trips, we booked Chef Mickey's character breakfast at the Contemporary. We were very excited at this meal because it seems to be one of the more higher regarded places to dine with all the tall, fuzzy people. We got there and left mildly disappointed. It was loud, crowded, and the food was on par with any other character breakfast. We'd much rather have done Cape May breakfast had we known. So my question is, why do you think this meal experience ranks so high? Is it because the Fab Five are there? You can see those guys anywhere. Also, what is it about the Contemporary that people seem to love? Aside from being really close to the Magic Kingdom and on the monorail line, it seems cramped and cluttered. I'd much rather stay at the Polynesian or the Beach Club. Oh well, hopefully this wasn't too long. Nudge Scopa to wake him up if he's nodded off again. Good work, and there are many. And are there any plans to do a remote podcast on the West Coast at Disneyland?
No.
So Chef Mickey's, what do you guys think? Overrated?
I haven't been there in a couple of years. I don't think the character meals are generally a good value. Yeah, I don't know. When was the last time you guys were there?
I was there with Scopa, and this was like, God, maybe even 5 years ago now at this point.
When Mickey had pie eyes. we have to go back.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I ate there with Scopa. We had lunch, or maybe it was late breakfast, like a 10 a.m. breakfast, something like that. And I remember it wasn't bad. It wasn't like we were saying, "Oh, I'll never go back there again." I just think we all agreed that it was kind of a little overrated. I think the reason why people like it so much is those characters. You get the Fab Five characters, which at a character meal seems to be harder and harder to come by, and they're also in their normal attire. I mean, they wear chef stuff, so I shouldn't say that, but it's the main characters. It's in an easy to get to location outside of the parks.
It's true. It's walking distance to the Magic Kingdom, so that's not bad.
Right. And I think it's just one of those things that's just been around. A lot of places just benefit from being around a long time. They just get notoriety. I mean, Tusker House, for instance, has only been doing character meals for a couple of years now, so it doesn't have quite that posterity to it. What do you think, Noel?
Posterity?
Whatever. Posterity.
Posterity?
Posterity. Okay. It's also prosthetic. Whatever it is.
Prosthetic. And a posterior.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
It's quite a nice one also. Len, Noel, what do you think about Chef Mickey's?
I was there, I want to say a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. And I agree. You go there for the characters. You don't really go there for the meal.
It's the same food, right? It's the waffles, pancakes.
Yeah. It was okay, but you're spending the money for the characters.
We mentioned about the Contemporary. We mentioned this on another podcast. I remember as a kid thinking the Contemporary was the coolest thing ever because
it still is.
It's still cool because the monorail goes through it.
Exactly.
But I remember people. I was on the monorail going to dinner the other week, and I was, the monorail goes through the
Atrium.
Atrium, right? And right before that, you could see the garden view rooms, and the people next to me on the monorail were looking out the window, and they saw the garden view, which is those, not the tower, it's those other rooms.
Right.
Two or three stories, right?
Yeah, and one of them was like, "Oh, is that building condemned?" And then her husband was like, "No, dear, it's just not well kept."
Is that what he said?
I swear to verbatim.
Wow, that's awesome.
I don't think they're that bad.
I would, if I'm staying at the Contemporary, everyone always envisions staying in the tower view rooms, but the base rate sticks you in one of those garden view rooms. I would agree. I would be bummed out if I had to stay there.
That's funny.
But like I said, I thought it was the coolest thing as a kid. Now I'd rather stay at the Polynesian. But I would still say I'd rather stay at the Contemporary over, say, the Grand Floridian.
Oh, me too. Yeah, no doubt. If they built a walkway from the Grand Floridian to the Magic Kingdom, I might do that. But nah.
Next email is from Kyle Morgan from Salt Lake City, Utah, originally from Ohio and a former Pleasure Island cast member.
Woo, woo. Well, aren't they all former now?
True enough.
Sorry.
I was listening to your live show and posted on April 24th, 2010, and I heard the question about how to get cheap water on property when you don't have a car. There's a gas station within walking distance of downtown Disney, and I think a few resorts. I'm not sure because I haven't tried it out, but I imagine that these would be less likely to have water as the station outside the Magic Kingdom.
It's the Hess, yeah.
Yeah, the Hess Express.
In both cases.
They're both Hess.
Yeah. Well, there's three of them, actually.
There's the one by the boardwalk. There's the one by downtown Disney.
Oh, the one at the Magic Kingdom. You can't really walk there.
No, you can't walk to that. You really can't walk to the other ones either. Well, you can walk to the one from downtown Disney across the street.
Yeah, it's across the street.
Well, you can walk from the boardwalk to the one.
That's a little bit of a hike because there's no sidewalk there.
You just have to cross the street. I mean, you just walk kind of the guard station across the street. It's possible, but the one in the Magic Kingdom, it's not possible at all.
No.
Yeah. But very good. Thank you for the tip. Next email is from Dan Cisneros of Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Dan.
Just got back from another great trip. I wanted to ask you about the monorail etiquette. We took my 80-year-old parents, and they wanted to ride the monorail. We were at Epcot, leaving this park, and went to the monorail station and rode the TTC, and then stayed on to ride back through Epcot and back to where we started.
Sure.
I asked about it before we left for the trip and was told that this was the way to ride the monorail on the loop through Epcot. When we got to the TTC, what?
Yeah, definitely. That's I would do it too. It's fun.
When we got to the TTC, the train was pretty full, and there were quite a few people waiting to board. When everyone else got up and left, the four of us stayed on our seats, and some folks stepped up and saw us sitting there and then whispered to each other and then turned around and said, as if they walked off, the lady made a remark about how rude some people are that refused to get off. Were we supposed to get off? I was told by a friend that it's just like the Magic Kingdom train, and you can stay on and ride all you want. Was I right? Or are you expected to get off the monorail and go up and down the ramp the other side to get back on again? So, Newell, it sounds like a moral conundrum.
No.
I would have got up.
No, absolutely not.
No way. You could ride that thing in a circle all day long if you wanted to.
Well, I mean, it's also pretty presumptuous of the woman to. I mean, what if you were lost? What if you just got on the wrong monorail? I mean, there's 20 million visitors. Some of them are going to get lost.
I think she was more rude than the people not leaving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Good for you, Dan. You did the right thing.
Exactly.
Last question of the day means I give Mr. Newell 3 emails to choose from. One gets read today. The other 2 go back to the email queue to be answered later. You ready, Mike?
Man, who's been picking these while I was away?
I think I picked a couple.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm in good hands then.
Okay. Good thing I didn't say Scopa. Your options, Mike, are don't drop the baby, dining plan double header, or representational rides.
Representational rides. What could that mean? Let's go with that one. That's intriguing.
It sounds abstract. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Next email is from Val from Dallas. Hello, wonderful boys and girl. Thank you for the dedication and faithfulness in providing this awesome podcast every week, 3 times a week. I really appreciate your dedication and insights. Mad props and much love to the entire team.
Thank you.
When I took a friend and her daughter to Walt Disney World for the first time ever, the first ride we rode in Epcot was Spaceship Earth, which my friend later told me was set the stage for that park. We ended up watching Illuminations, which solidified the impressions of the park, and in between, there was a grandeur of American Adventure and the unique innovation of Soarin'. So that got me thinking, is there an attraction in each park that you really think best represents that park? I know each park has its own icon, but as far as the rides or shows, which one would you do to represent, you think is the most representative of the park's theme? Where would you take someone to give them their first general impression of each of the 4 theme parks?
Ooh, good question.
Well, for the studios, I think Great Movie Ride, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, that was kind of
yeah. It's a better choice than Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, or Toy Story Mania. Yeah.
As a representation of the theme.
But it sets the tone.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like I think those other attractions Len just named are better, but
Right.
But just to represent the theme of the studios, great movie ride.
Right. I think setting the tone is important. I think Magic Kingdom, it would be the carousel. Cinderella's carousel.
Cinderella's one. Carousel Progress.
No, not Carousel Progress.
No. Henry?
Really?
I think so. I don't know.
What do you think, Len? Actually, I think Magic Kingdom, Small World.
Yeah. I would have gone with that over the carousel, but I think Splash Mountain.
Splash.
Really?
An attraction to glorify Song of the South is
about the antebellum South? Yes, exactly.
Strong racial overtones.
Exactly.
Glorifying slavery. That's nice.
It's exactly right. Yeah.
What about Pirates of the Caribbean?
That was my other choice. Was Pirates?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'd go with that. What about Animal Kingdom?
Safari.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we're in agreement with Spaceship Earth was a good choice.
On Epcot,
I would split Epcot because I would split it between Future World and World Showcase, and American Adventure representing World Showcase.
Yeah, I think those are exactly the right choices.
And Spaceship Earth featuring for Future World.
Cool. Well, that's going to do it for us today. I want to remind all of our listeners that this episode of WDW Today has been sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And hey, it doesn't matter where you're going in the world, whether you're going to Walt Disney World for the first time, 1,000 times, you're going to Disneyland, regardless, MEI and Mouse Fan Travel can help you plan that trip. So regardless of your level of experience, if you're a complete noob or if you're uber elite and know everything about the parks, they can help you because they can either make it a lot easier for you or they can help guide your hand. Regardless, it's going to be an easy experience. And the best part, it's a no-fee experience. No fee to you. You don't pay anything extra on top if you booked it yourself. The only difference, you're getting great service. Check them out online at mousefantravel.com. You can find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments. Visit us online at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you next show.
Pay to the order of Mouse Fan Travel. One rebate check.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.